Welcome to the Veterans Online Summit. My name is Larry Peacock, and I am the host of the summit. And it's going to be completely free this weekend. So definitely watch all the videos. The schedule is up. If you look on my Facebook profile for Larry Peacock, the complete schedule is up for the Veterans Online Summit. So definitely take notes while you're watching all the speakers. Each of the speakers present a different online business model. And that was the purpose of the summit, is just to kind of expose you to all the business models for starting an online business. If you want all-time access, like an all-access pass that you can watch the videos at any time you want after this weekend, you can upgrade to that pass at veteransonlinesummit.com. We'll also be providing workbooks that will correlate to each of the interviews that will help you dive more into that. As far as our Facebook group, look for Funnel Vets, FUNNELVETS, Funnel Vets on Facebook. All right, I hope you guys have a great time. Thank you so much for joining us at the Veterans Online Summit, and I'll see you on the high ground. Wake up, you! All right, my fellow veterans, it's great to see you. I got my good friend Mark Stern here. How you doing, sir?
Doing good, man. Good seeing you, Larry.
Hey, it's great to see you. I got Mark Stern here of Rough Streak Digital, and the entrepreneur elements is what we're going to be talking about today. I'm super excited. If you want foundation and structure for your business, this is definitely it. Hey, Mark, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, sir.
Sure. So I always tell people I was the guy who followed the path. I grew up in Alabama and was raised that this is like the path to happiness. Graduate high school, go to college, graduate college, get the dream job, go back to grad school. And, I followed that path to a T. And in 2012, when I graduated grad school, I found myself in a position that was $165,000 in student loan debt. And, I enrolled in grad school. We were the class following the bump, the burst back in 2008. So when people lost their jobs in 2009, they enrolled in business school, and getting scholarships just was not as available as it had been in the past. So for me, I found myself not only that, but I was also in a corporate job that I loved, but I was committed to it for a minimum of 2 years. And it was a job in which I just could not have any other form of revenue but that employer. So to be in a place in 2012, 165K in debt, and have this entrepreneurial spirit that I've wanted to, explore, but being trapped in a professional firm that anything you produced was owned by them, it was really stifling in terms of wanting to become an entrepreneur. So, it wasn't until literally, I finally made the leap back in January of 2018 is when I put in my notice to transition out of that job. So it was a process. But for years, I was a fly on the wall for the digital marketing space and wanting to be an entrepreneur. And, part of what we're going to be talking about today is some of the steps that I took and some of the key learnings I had as I started to make the transition to, pursuing that passion of becoming an entrepreneur.
That's an incredible story. And I clearly remember the bubble bursting in 2008. Yeah. I owned 2 houses at that time and was in a third house getting ready to knock that one out as well. And yeah, the bubble bust and I lost my houses. And so that had a dramatic effect on my life as well. And I made some changes from that, as well as so many other people. So it's really good to hear your story. It's super inspirational to hear that you can make that change. So I appreciate that, sir. So let's go ahead. I want to get right into it. Entrepreneur elements. And if you all can see it, Mark's going to go into detail. He's going to get a share screen going. But when I saw this, yeah, the color version is way better. When I saw this, I was super impressed. So go ahead, Mark. Let's go ahead and get to a share screen here, sir. And I want you to kind of walk us through the entrepreneur elements.
So can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. Looking good.
Awesome.
I'm going to go ahead and mute myself just to give you the floor there, sir.
No, appreciate that. Awesome. Well, hi, everyone. As Larry said, my name is Mark Stern, and I'm really excited to walk you through a product of mine. It's called Entrepreneur Elements. One thing that you will all have access to, and if you see the link at the bottom of the screen here, everything that we're walking through in the table itself, this is a free gift that I want to give you all. So if you just go to http://bit.ly/VOS, which is Veterans Online Summit, and then elements in lowercase, you'll be able to download a copy of this Entrepreneur Elements table. So that could be something that's really good to reference. But before we jump into it, one of the things that I wanted to introduce is kind of why this concept came to life. And for me, while I was in my corporate job, and it was a corporate job when I joined a consulting firm, a top 5 consulting firm, huge. It was the world's largest consulting firm at the time. Now I think it's the second world's largest. And anything that you produce is owned by the firm, all the way down to if I were to buy a stock, they would have to approve it. If I were invited to speak, I would have to get approval for it. So pretty much anything that I did was owned or controlled by the firm I work for. And this is very typical for big tech, big consulting, private equity. A lot of companies are very protective of their data. So what I did on the side was I lived and breathed every entrepreneurial digital marketing conference that you can imagine. And I would buy into coaching programs, trying to prepare my pathway for the exit. But the reality is I was recognizing that it was very much a panacea for wanting to escape to being an entrepreneur. So as I was spending money, one of the things that I started getting really frustrated at was that all these influencers that I was following kept on saying, if you have no list and no product, no problem, just buy my course and I'll give you everything you need. And every time I would buy these courses and spend tens of thousands of dollars on training materials, when I would get closer and closer to the influencer, I was always disappointed because there was just a complete lack of structure in terms of getting me to the result that they're promising. And it seemed like the only people that were having success were the people who already had a large following or already had a product that they were successfully selling in market. So for me, coming out of the gates as a brand new entrepreneur, I always just found myself in a place of just getting disappointed that I learned something, but it didn't provide me the foundation and the promise that was made by this influencer. So what I really wanted was this 10,000 foot view. Is there any way to create a 10,000 foot view of entrepreneurship, almost down to the point that as long as you know how to navigate that 10,000 viewpoint, it could become a really powerful tool for you. In the same regard as if I say, the US map, if I say California, California is on the West Coast. If I say Florida, Florida is at the southeast coast of the United States. How can I give you something that as you start to engage with influencers and get deeper into entrepreneurship, if you know your way around the map, you can help make decisions of whether or not this is something that you should incorporate in your business, you should spend your money on. So that's what this tool is. And we're going to delve a little bit deeper into it. The layout of the table is very intentional, and I'll show you exactly how. So a couple key benefits of this. It's a 10,000 foot view. Entrepreneur Elements is a 10,000 foot view of entrepreneurship. It's all about keeping you focused and giving you clarity on what you're trying to achieve because you have a framework that you can follow. It helps you identify gaps. So there could be things in your business you're not thinking about, and you can see that there's elements that you want to delve deeper into to learn more about. It's great for brainstorming new opportunities. It can be utilized as a tool to spy on your competitors. So you can take these same principles and then monitor and track the activity that your competitors are doing. But it's, for me, what I use it for is a lot of my strategic business planning and how I launch all new products. And by just understanding this, it can really be a tool that does save you a lot of time and money. So this is what you guys have access to. Again, if you click the link at the bottom, or just go to that bit.ly link, you'll be able to access two things. It's the full color version of the Entrepreneur Elements table, as well as on the backside or page 2 of it, it breaks down what the 4 phases are that we're going to be walking through today, and just an introduction to all the subgroupings and how you should start to think about planning your business with entrepreneurship. Before we delve into it, I do want to give you a caveat to say that this is not a roadmap. It's not you start with element 1 and go to element 128. It's a strategic planning and brainstorming tool. The most critical aspect of this, as you start to go through this table, it is the foundational elements. It's the ones that we're going to talk about at first. This is the backbone to your business. Not all elements listed on the table are relevant to every startup. So some may be relevant to you, some may not be. So don't feel like you have to force everything to work. But the general structure of the table and how things are laid out, and this is important because this is how we're going to start to break things down in this presentation. We start off with a phase, and there's 4 phases within the Entrepreneur Elements table. Then in each phase, there's a series of grouping. These are subtopics within that phase. And then with each grouping, there's a series of elements. So that's how this is laid out. And to bring it to life, Phase 1 is foundation. This is the backbone of your business. Within phase 1, there's 3 groupings. It's the essentials, the branding basics, and the one-page recap. And then within each of those subcategories in the groupings, there's a series of elements that get brought to life. And you'll see that if you look at the table, it's pretty straightforward of how that all comes to life. But what we're going to do very briefly today is I'm going to introduce you to the 4 phases. Phase 1 is all about building your business strategy, building your business foundation. That's the who and the why. Phase 2 is the strategy. That's the what you're trying to accomplish to serve that foundation. Tactics is the how. Now that you have your strategy, tactics are how you're going to achieve that strategy. And then the final phase is implementation. This is getting into a lot more of, the who, like the team members that you need to deliver upon your strategy, as well as the tools and resources. So oftentimes the trap I see most people fall into is they go straight to implementation without thinking about foundation and strategy first. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to go delve deep into each of these different phases. And I'm just going to give you guys just a brief overview of this. If you want more information on all of these, I do have a whole publication that literally breaks down every element that you guys can get access to. So without further ado, let's jump right on in. The first phase is foundation. So this is the who and the why. So if you are starting a business, this is the part that I feel like I always see influencers miss pretty heavily. The whole backbone is to say, who is it that you want to serve? Like, who's your dream client avatar? Why do you want to serve them? What is your motivation to wanting to start a business? It also includes elements of mind and body that are really important to ground you as well. So it's broken up into 3 different components. It's the essentials, branding basics, and the one-page recap. And we're going to go through each of these pretty quickly. So to kick it off, the essentials are the elements that are crucial to launching and developing a new startup. So when we do talk about it, and you can see on the image to the left, the way this is going to work is it's going to highlight the grouping that we're talking about. And on the right-hand side, it's going to list the elements that are represented within this grouping. So for me, the number one most important thing, especially when you're starting a business, is that mind and body component. It starts with yourself. You representing and you showing up as your best self will allow you to project, have the clarity to understand who it is you want to serve and why you want to serve them. So it really starts with mind and body. And you can see the transition that this goes through. And I would say probably the elements that are most critical, make sure you don't breeze through this part because it's so critical. Motivation. Why is it that you want to do what you're doing? Opportunity. What are some of the opportunities and areas that you want to explore? Within those opportunities, 4 goes into looking into what are the market trends around these opportunities? Who are the category leaders, the top players in that opportunity that you want to explore? Who are the niche players that if you went from a top players that are at the top of the chain, if you got more niche down, who are those core niche players that you want to model and emulate? What is their strategy? And what is the opportunity that they present to their customers? When we get to element 9, it gets down to you and it's saying, like, who is your dream avatar? Who's the person that you want to serve? What are their pain points? How can you serve them? Like, what is that intended result that you want to drive them to? And what is the new opportunity that you're going to present to them to sell them? This is all just getting into a lot of the foundational pieces of starting a business. When we shift into branding basics, why this is such a critical one and up front in the foundation is this is like naming your baby. When we talk about branding basics, the core elements to brand something, you need your business name, you need that perfect domain, you need a logo, and you need a color scheme. If you have those 4 components, you could have the look and feel to have something that you can show the world to say, this is my company, this is my business, and then with the essentials, and this is what we're about. So you can bring all those pieces together as well. Again, I can't tell you with a lot of my products that I create, the second I see the logo, it just feels real. Like I'm sure, Larry, when you had the Veterans Online Summit logo, once you see that, it becomes a real tangible thing. And it's the same thing when the Entrepreneur Elements logo was created and the Clickpreneur, when I see that logo and I put it out the world, it just feels a lot more established than just an idea in my head.
Absolutely, Mark. And just to interject there, to my fellow veterans, I mean, you see that my logo right there, Veterans Online Summit, and the logo right next to it is actually an F and a V for funnel vets. And so that's what I call you guys. funnel vets, veterans who are interested in learning about online sales and using funnels to sell their product or service. And so that's just a kind of a key right there. And also the other thing I wanted to mention, the whole mindset, body and mindset that he's talking about. Mind and body. You, my fellow veterans, you have that, right? You have that grit. You've had it instilled in you, mission first, right? And so I just want you to know that you guys have a lot of these attributes that will make you very successful in the online world.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. And I didn't know that about, excuse me, about your logo. That's pretty awesome. Funnel vets. Awesome. Phase 2, this is all about the what. So the foundation is the who and the why. Like, who is it you want to serve and why? Once you have the clarity on the who and the why, now it's about what is it that you want to achieve to serve that foundation. So these are your overarching goals, setting some KPIs, at least setting some direction so you know where you need to trend towards. 2 core categories here, business objectives and business planning. This is so important. And so many people just breeze right through this and go to, I just want to implement, that they don't think about what it is that they're trying to achieve. And why I love this part is that when you have those objectives defined and you have that vision, then you can weigh every decision you need to make. Do I need to purchase this platform? Do I need to build this relationship in this regard? And then you can weigh it back to the business objectives to say, what business objective is this going to help me achieve? So what these elements are when we go into business objectives, it's the desired outcome. It's just having a list of the things that you want to achieve to serve that foundation. So a lot of what you see here from 18 to 27, these are different types of goals you could set for your business. It could be to discover more about your avatar, discover more opportunities that they want to explore. Develop is producing things that you can then eventually test and refine. One of your objectives could be you want to launch something. You want to launch a brand new product. You want to launch a coaching program. Generate leads, get more people into your environment, into your community. Convert the leads to sales, customer retention, customer ascension, scaling and growing your products and building relations. These are all different types of objectives that you could set to have like a clear list of what it is you're trying to achieve. When we get into the second part of this, it's business planning. When we talk about business planning, this is just taking a little bit more, getting a little bit more strategic and setting a little bit more specific and more defined of a plan. It's also thinking about the strategic considerations when you introduce a new product. Where does it fit in your overall product portfolio? So you could see that, in terms of the elements, it's are you developing out a new product or offer? Is it a growth product? Is it a mature product, or is it one that you're going to retire? So it's just looking at all the products in your portfolio and understanding where they kind of fit in that portfolio. At what stage of life are they? Different product types. When we talk about different product types and product pricing kind of go hand in hand. Is it a lead magnet to get people into your environment? That's a product type. Is it a tripwire, a low ticket item that they buy? Is it your core offer, something that's like a mid-range product that you've priced it at? Is it a high ticket offer, something that you may charge? Sometimes people define high ticket as a 5-figure. Other people define high ticket as you have to close them on the phone. So what is the category? And you want to make sure you have a nice span of products that represent the full value ladder at the different product types and at the different price points as well. Frequency, when you roll out a new product or service, is it a product or service that you're going to introduce once a year? Like this virtual summit, the Veterans Online Summit. Is this something that gets released once a year and then it's off? Or is it something that happens multiple times a year? Do you have a product that people can buy any day of the week as long as they have an internet connection and a credit card? So what is the frequency that you're going to deliver that product? And the last 2 is just starting to think about the budget, because knowing some budget considerations are important to ultimately what you, when you get to the tactical and the implementation phases, how you spend your money. And then just the annual planning piece is just a critical part of every business, thinking about the seasonality and thinking about looking at a calendar and saying, when do you want to release different things at different points of the year? So that gets us through phase 2. Phase 3, this is part of where I see people start to jump to as entrepreneurs, and they forget the foundation and the strategy. Phase 3, the tactics are all about the how. So if you've defined your strategy, that's the what. The how is how you're going to achieve that strategy. So these elements are all about how, now that I know what my objectives are, the business objectives are, how am I going to do it? So it gets into 4 core categories: key players, delivery types, delivery vehicles, and pre-execution. When we talk about key players, this is who am I going to engage to achieve that business objective? There's all different people that you can engage, whether it's going after the market, cold, warm, new customers, active customers, hyperactive customers that you're going to engage. Is it influencers, affiliates, joint venture partners that you're going to engage to do a partnership on a new product? There's so many different tactics in terms of the who you engage. Delivery types are getting into what is it that you're going to create to deliver upon your business objectives. This is where people tend to just jump to and start to create. But thinking strategically about how this could fit the overall picture, I think is could be very valuable to you. And you can see that there is just a whole list within this black section of the table of different considerations that you can create, the products or services that you can create. So, you can see from here, on the lower end of the spectrum, you can create reports and workbooks. You may create cheat sheets or swipe files. On the high end of the spectrum, you may start to do your own consulting services, your own coaching program, contests. You could do a virtual summit or a virtual event. You could do a live event. These are all different types of things that you could deliver. When we get to the next phase, the delivery vehicles, this really gets into how you are going to deliver it. What are the channels you're going to deliver? You can deliver products and services via direct mail, via email, mobile device, like an app you create. You can do it in person. That is a delivery channel. So delivery vehicles just gets into the different channels that when you've created a product or service, how are you going to get it into the customer's hand? Where are they going to be able to experience it? It could be digital.
Sir. If I may interject, so to my fellow veterans who are watching, again, you have this fantastic layout. And so when we're thinking about this delivery vehicles, the tactics, and how you're going to get this out, recognize that your audience has different learning types, right? Yeah. So some are audible, some like to read, some more visual. So there's just different learning types that your customers have. And so do you want to do everything? That might be a little bit difficult, but definitely you want to make sure that you're hitting those different delivery types. Some like to enjoy podcasts. Some like to watch YouTube videos. And some like to have the hard book cover. So those are just different things that you want to be thinking about as you're going through this. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, no, so that's great to know. And here's the thing. Again, leverage this tool for brainstorming. I mean, when you see a list like the different delivery types, this is not to say do all of these. You could do 2 of these. You may focus on 1 of these. That's fine. And you may focus on 1 of those across 1 channel. This is just giving you options of like, I don't know where to start. Well, let me see let's create a podcast, which is probably going to be delivered via, your mobile device and smartphone, or it could be delivered via digital channel as well. So like that's the only thing that this is designed to do is it's just designed to be a strategic planning and a brainstorming tool. This is a lot of stuff that's listed in here. It's 128 elements. The goal of this is just to orient you, that if you just like understand the basics of this, it could be a powerful tool to look at and then say, how do I continue to like be organized with how I structure my business? And the last part of this section is pre-execution. This is just getting a lot more tactical with like, once you know the strategy, it's the what, and then you have a lot of the tactical elements, the people you're going to engage, the delivery type. So what product or service you're going to be offering, and how you're going to be delivering it through the delivery vehicles, the channels. This is just pulling it all together to see, can you make a little roadmap in terms of how you're going to be delivering it before you get to implementation. So it's just developing that kind of action plan that just pulls all the pieces together of all the other groups. And the last portion here to wrap this up is implementation. So what this is just designed to do is, this is where a lot of people tend to fall, and this is where like shiny object syndrome happens a lot. So a lot of people tend to like see a webinar and buy the product and don't even think about like, do I even need this? I've spent so much money. Larry, I bet you spent so much money on tools and resources that I never used, e-learnings that I never took because I didn't need it. But
thousands.
Thousands. Yes.
Just ask my wife. She's going to kill me.
You all will fall into this trap too. And I'm trying to help you to say like, this is why like doing the strategy portion of this and knowing your business objectives, then you can look at things and go, do I need this? Is this going to advance one of my objectives? If the answer is no, save your money.
Yeah.
Like, give it a layer time. I think I bought like Teachable and Webinar Jam 2-year subscriptions to it because they offered a deal for 2-year subscriptions. I've never logged into either platform.
Oh gosh.
And it's because I've not needed it. I've had other platforms that have delivered upon what I needed. And I was beginning as an entrepreneur and I was like, I definitely need this. Bye. Like, it's so easy to get trigger happy. So
yeah. And let me talk about that a little bit too. Cause we call it shiny object syndrome. I don't know if you already said it, but my fellow veterans, Mark and I have been there, done that. Right. So I've been with ClickFunnels for 3 years. How long you been in this, Mark?
I think I bought ClickFunnels the first year it came out, and I didn't touch it. Like, I played it, and I was like, I'll get to it one day.
So
I've gotten to it.
Yeah. With that said, you have help at your fingertips, right? You have people who are successful at this, who have been there, done that. Before you go out and buy a whole bunch of crazy stuff, please connect with a mentor, connect with me, connect with Mark.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going.
Yeah, just to wrap this part up, and team structure and platform. So this is like where people's implementation is where you start to really spend your money. You can get through the whole top half of this table, the foundation phase, strategy and tactics, without spending really a dime. Maybe buying a domain and hiring someone to build your logo if you don't build it yourself. But like, this is where like the dollars tend to get spent. And part of it is like, who's the team you need? The reality is when you get started, you may be wearing a lot of the hats. It's important to know the roles you're going to play in and to tease out where you really need help. So you could see, like, do you need a copywriter? Do you need a production lead? Do you need a funnel builder or a web builder? Do you need an ads manager? Do you need legal and support, accounting, coaches, advisors? These are all different types of roles that people can have as a member of your team. But these are different things you may hire for. These are different hats that you may wear yourself. Implementation, you can see at the bottom, I think it's something like over 30 different types of platforms I teased out. I think it was like 33 platforms that I teased out that you could easily buy a monthly subscription service across all of these. And this is not, there's more than 30 different types, but it's like, who's your email provider? Who's your webinar platform? Who are you using for bots? Social media, content platform. I mean, all of these, integration platform, a cart platform, a funnel platform. These are all things that, like, as I started as an entrepreneur, like, I thought I had everything under control. And then the next thing you know is someone's like, well, you needed this platform. Oh, you need a cart for people to process orders. Okay, now I have a cart. Well, now you need to have a payment processing platform like a Stripe or PayPal that you integrate with it. So like, oh, now I got to get that too. So this is just to show you that, like, this is where people dump it a lot of money and being a lot more strategic and at least seeing what types of options. These are a lot of the common options that you see. This could save you a lot of time and money, but it's also important to ask yourself throughout the process, is this something I need now for what I'm trying to achieve now? So, yeah, that is, I think that's pretty much it with this. So again, this is very much like a brief 10,000 foot view. It's overwhelming to see a table with 128 elements on it. But I mean, if you see the page on the right-hand side, just the simple knowing of, like, have I thought about the foundational elements? Those are the most critical out of all of this, because if you don't have your foundation right, you're just pumping money into a system blindfolded. You don't have that clarity. You don't have that direction. You don't have that purpose of who you're trying to serve with what you're trying to create. And then strategy just gets a little bit more specific, and then you can progress down. But ultimately, if you just get comfortable with this, it really can be a tool to save you time and money. And then again, if you just access the link below, you'll be able to get a copy of this table. So I think that was like the crux of entrepreneur elements that I wanted to walk through. It's a lot, but again, it's just keeping people structured and organized in terms of how you think about setting up your online presence.
I appreciate it, Mark. That's fantastic. And, this is this happens to be a pre-recorded session. I don't mind telling people that. It's just the way it works. And so this is going to be one of the first videos that we're going to put on the Veterans Online Summit because it's super key, right? Super key, setting that foundation. And like Mark said, a lot of us just go straight to implementation without thinking about this. And I've learned a lot even within just this session and going over these elements again, and how you have 4 different phases and it's all lined out real nicely. There's a lot can be said for doing that to my veterans here. And so I appreciate that, Mark. And again, we have that lead magnet for you where you can access that table. We'll make sure that all of you get that. We'll email it to you. If you don't get it yourself, I'm going to force you to have it, and make sure you print that up. And Mark and I will be, Mark's a good friend. We connected at Funnel Hacking Live in person. I connected with him before that. And so it was great to meet you, Mark, in person. I'm really super stoked about that. Do you have any last minute words of advice, sir? And also let us know how we can reach you.
Yeah, no, Larry, love what you're doing. So, I mean, thank you to all the veterans. This is awesome. And I love that you're pulling together this event. So, really celebrate you for what you've done. So thank you for everything. Listen to this guy. Like, he's been in the trenches and he knows how this game works. It is a game. Entrepreneurship is just, it's such a different game, but just like if you're playing a board game, learn the rules. And once you kind of get the basics down, then start to, you all have your own strategies and you all have your own skill sets. That's when you start to heavily layer that on, and that's what will differentiate you in this game. But just like really understanding those basics and not just jumping into it will save you so much time and money. So yeah, that would be my final message. To find me, you guys can find me on Facebook. I have a group called Clickpreneur. So it's like entrepreneur, but Clickpreneur. And a lot of what I do is help people make the transition from corporate into entrepreneurship. And we do a couple of events throughout the year that are all virtually based. The next one is going to be all on high ticket sales. So if you have any interest in high ticket, come join that community. You can learn a lot more about how to craft your high ticket offer. So that's it.
That's great. And again, so, to my fellow veterans, a lot of you have been active duty 20 years and whatnot. And here you are transitioning into the civilian world. And that's the change and transition that I'm trying to help you with. And so Mark made that scary jump from corporate to entrepreneur. He was very successful in the corporate world, and here he is making that transition to entrepreneur. Very scary, but he's been able to accomplish it. And I'll also say to you, my veterans, that again, have that strategy, use those 4 phases, look through them, really think about it, but take action.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to take action, and you can't be afraid to take action. And so we'll be talking more about that and ways that you could do that. So again, Mark, I sincerely appreciate connecting with you, sir. And I look forward to seeing you. To all my fellow veterans, I'll see you on the high ground.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Larry.
Yep. Hello, my fellow veterans. Thank you so much for watching the interview. I hope you got a lot of value out of that interview. Definitely go back and take a pen and paper and take some notes, right? Go back and watch that interview again. At the top of the hour, we will have another interview. And now with all the speakers that we have at the Veterans Online Summit, a majority of them have provided what we call a free lead magnet, where you can learn more about them and some kind of education for you. But here's what I want you all to do. Number 1, go to Facebook group and add yourself to Funnel Vets. FUNNELVETS. I want you guys to become a part of Funnel Vets, okay? And all it is a group of military veterans that are interested in online entrepreneurship, mainly with ClickFunnels, okay? And the second thing I want you to do is if you're ready to go all in, which I hope you are, if you're ready to go all in, kind of the first initial steps that you can take, there's a couple of things that are very key, okay? There's 2 books in particular that I really want you to get right off the bat. And I'll get you the affiliate link for those books. But the first one is .com Secrets, and this is the digital online marketing guide. Okay, it's like the Bible for digital online marketing and learning how to sell online. Okay, and that's by Russell Brunson of ClickFunnels. Then you have his second book, Expert Secrets. This is an amazing book, Expert Secrets, that I want you guys to pick up. And this is teaches you how to get paid for your advice, okay? And you're going to learn all about that, using persuasion to sell your product or service. Again, this is called Expert Secrets. Again, that's by Russell Brunson. Now, when you're looking to scale your business, you're going to be looking for a book called The Dream 100. This is revolutionary. I can't even tell you how amazing this book is. I'll get you the link for that. Okay. All three of these books, these are like kind of the main books here. All three of them are free plus shipping, right? You're just going to pay for some shipping. The other thing that I want you to consider getting, another book from ClickFunnels. Again, they provide a lot, right? But what they provide is something called the cookbook. This is free as well. You just pay the shipping costs. But in the cookbook, for when you're learning how you get the ClickFunnels software, I'm going to get you a link and get you 2 weeks free to use the software. And when you use that software, this has everything you need to know about building online software or building a sales funnel, okay, and the different types of funnels that you can create. Okay, this is step by step, and it's called the Funnel Hackers Cookbook. Okay, again, that's free plus shipping. All right, and then also, my good buddy, if you're interested in learning how to write persuasively, again, if you're interested in learning how to write persuasively, Jim Edwards, who's a speaker on the summit, this book's not even available yet, but it's gonna be available, and I know he'll want to get that too. He's a huge supporter of veterans. He gave me this book, and that's Copywriting Secrets. Okay, again, it's a lot, but I'm trying to get you guys the stuff that's necessary that will propel you, okay, over the next person who doesn't have this amazing material. Okay, these are like foundational books. These are foundational books. Okay, now, if you only could get 2 books, only 2, again, you would get these 2. If you just, kind of low on money, you have to. I'm a freaking officer. That's command authority right there. I'm giving you an order that you have to get these 2 books, okay? Definitely get these 2 books to start, and then moving forward from there, look to get the other books. Now, lastly, there's something called the One Funnel Away Challenge, and it's a 30-day challenge where you are going to commit to yourself about an hour a day, hour to 2 hours a day, to learning ClickFunnels, okay? And you will have 3 amazing coaches, Russell Brunson, Julie Stowen, and Stephen Larson, who's a military officer himself back in the day, okay? And they'll be coaching you through the One Funnel Away Challenge. With that, it's $100, right? It's $100 for this thing, and you'll get all the trainings every single day, videos and whatnot online. And you'll get this box that will come in the mail to you. And this box is full of a ton of goodies, okay? One thing that's included in is this 30 days book. You suddenly lose everything in 30 days. What would you do? And they took 30 of the top ClickFunnels experts who use the software for different types of things. And they said, you have 30 days and all you have is the ClickFunnels software. What are you going to do to get back on your feet? Okay, it's 30 different case studies of completely different things that you can do to get back on your feet with in the online marketing world. And with the One Funnel Away Challenge comes the workbook. Okay, so again, just to recap, this is the One Funnel Away Challenge is something that I've done that almost every funnel hacker has done. It's $100 and it lasts 30 days. I'll get you the link for that, and that's something that you could check out. But again, these are the 2 books that you want to start off with. Okay. .com Secrets and Expert Secrets. All right, immerse yourself in ClickFunnels. Just immerse yourself in ClickFunnels, and that's how you do it, starting off with those books. And I hope I know it's going to be really helpful for you. I know it's going to be really helpful for you. Again, if you want to go all in, this is how you do it, okay? You know how you do it? You take out your credit card, you take out your debit card, and you pay for it, right? Because all of us have, before you, have done the very same thing, and you're going to be asking your potential clients to take out their wallet, and you got to be comfortable doing the same thing, okay? That's how it works in this game, and it takes a lot of hard work, but I'm excited to be there with you every freaking step of the way, okay? And lastly, I have some huge opportunities for you. I am an Inner Circle partner of Tier 5. The Tier 5 software, meaning I have the ability to sell software. And I also have the ability to create partnerships on a limited basis so that they have the ability to sell software under me. So if that interests you, I'm going to give you some free software just to check it out, to check out our product line. And to be able to, whatever you decide to do, if you decide to create online courses, if you decide to write a book, if you decide to do digital marketing, if you decide to be a life coach, if you can add software to your offer, you make that offer even more irresistible. Okay. Again, you make that offer more irresistible to where clients will want to take up that offer and give their money to you. Okay. And so I'm going to give you some opportunity to check out the Tier 5 software. And I hope that is really helpful to you guys. Okay. So again, you have to go all in. That's all I'm asking. You may not believe in yourself. Sometimes you'll doubt yourself, but the one thing you will never do is you'll never give up on yourself. Cool. All right. On to the next interview. I appreciate you guys.